Well, welcome to part 5, everyone. As promised in the previous video, I've finally gotten to the point where I'm going to show you guys how I polish. A lot of you, from watching the old gravity videos I used to do for the gravity colors with Mate Meyer, you remember how I did it, but I'm going to remind all my new subscribers and remind maybe the ones that forgot the method I use. Now, this method was something that was shown to me by a gentleman that has passed on now. Was a pretty good friend of mine named Peter Wingfield, a heck of a modeler. He was the founder of Scale Auto Art, and he passed away recently a couple years ago. I miss him greatly, but he taught me quite a bit about, opened my eyes basically to the world of Model Factory Hero kits, how to deal with white metal, how to polish it, how to add patina to it with washes of oils and such. Things that I would like to share with you viewers once I get to a client project that I need to do. That's a Model Factory Hero kit that requires a lot of white metal work. I don't paint white metal. If it needs to be metal, it gets treated with a tumbler that I use, and I'll cover all that stuff. But anyways, I don't want to get on that subject too much here because I'll keep a task here. But polishing. This front monocoat, it basically is smooth, it's clean, but it does need a little bit of TLC. You won't see it in the camera, but it's taken on a little bit of graininess, and it's got a little bit of nibs and some trash in certain areas, and I want to level that out or flatten that out and get it nice and clean and perfect, and then bring back the shine. So what I do, my method is, which is part of Peter's, is to start with 2000 grit, okay? 3M 2000 grit. Everything is wet sanded. I've got it in water right here, as you can see. The 2000 grit is this paper here, and the other piece, which is a trick that Peter taught me here, is to use these little pads that are made by 3M as well, called Trizac. Now, what Trizac is just a foam pad. It's actually a round pad. Got to thank Chris Batson. He sent me these big round pads, and I just cut bits and pieces off of them because I'm not doing a full-size car, so I don't need to put it on a big sander and go to town on my models, because obviously it would be a catastrophic event. But these are 5000 grit, and what they do is the 2000 levels the paint out. It's not so coarse where it's going to start burning the paint, but believe me, be careful. Even with urethane finishes, you can go right through the clear if you're not careful. But what I want to do is show you my method. And when I use the 2000, I do a crisscross pattern. In other words, you have to. We're going to start here and do the body or whatever you're doing in sections. Don't try to do the whole thing at once. It's not going to work out well for you. So we're going to do this right up here first, along here. So what I do is I'm going to go back and forth in this motion like this. And do not put a ton of pressure down. You don't have to. If it's a fresh piece of 2000 grit, just lay it on there, slight pressure, and let the grit do the work. If you press too hard, you're gonna burn through areas. And what you're trying to do is stay away from any raised areas, which is what I'm trying to do. Do I burn through? Yes, I do. And when I do burn through, I've got to touch it up. But I'm using my index finger here and just kind of going across this, and using the index finger as my toughest contact point to get the paint leveled out. Now, do you have to get rid of every single? Because what will happen is you'll start seeing the gloss go away when you do this. I'll wipe it away here, and you'll see it. Let me put it up to the camera. See how it's dulling out? You want to try to get it as uniform of a dull finish as possible. The more the merrier, because that's the more level your paint is when you take patience with that. Believe me, polishing is patience, folks. You don't want to try to rush this. You're going to burn through. It's not going to look good when you're done. So patience is a virtue. That's why you want to do each section at a time. Treat each section like its own project in itself, basically. So I'm sitting here and I'm moving this across here. And I'm going not real aggressive. You don't want, like I said, don't go crazy and get real aggressive with it. You just want to go across like that and get the finish as even as possible. Every once in a while you want to stop because the water is deceiving. It makes it think that you're not polishing enough when you really are. You stop and you check your work. See? I've got a few areas around the 5 still that I've got to do, and a few areas, but I'm trying to stay away from these raised edges right there. Now, some modelers, what they'll do when they're polishing is they'll take small pieces of tape and put them and cover the areas where the actual raised edge is to prevent burning through. You can do that too. I don't. Let's face it, guys. Guys and gals. This is a red finish. If I do burn through anywhere, it's so easy just to touch it up. No one will know. It'll be real easy to do. So I'm not so worried about it. It's metallic finishes you got problems with. You got to be really super careful on metallics. You can't just touch them up that easily, especially with some of these automotive paints because they're pre-thinned and they have no coverage power at all unless they're going through an airbrush. So you run it through like this. If you think you're not getting it level enough, what you can do also is switch up your direction. So this time I'm going to try that to show you what I mean by that. Now you can take the model, the same 2000, grasp it fairly decent, and then you can go back and forth this way. With the 2000, it's important you go front to back or side to side in a crisscross pattern. If any of you viewers out there have used micro mesh polishing kits, they tell you to do the same thing all the time. So again, I'm going to go back and forth here, crossed here, like so. And that helps get the areas that I couldn't catch going this way. And again, I'm applying light pressure. Don't ever go in a circular motion, not with this stuff. You can do that with the 5000 Trizac. In fact, I encourage it. But I'm going back and forth. And how tough or how aggressive you can get with the clear depends on the clear. This Omni is pretty tough stuff. Urethane clear in general is tough. I myself have never polished out, I will tell you up front, I've never ever polished out a lacquer one-stage clear finish. I would be scared to death personally. I know there's guys out there that do it. Modelers out there, in other words, that do it, but I would never want to try it. Alright, so take this, run it across here, and for the purpose of this demonstration, I've got it pretty darn close to the way I want it. A little bit of raised edge right there, but a lot of times the 5000 will help blend all that in. So I squeeze as much water out of the 5000 out of the 5000 paper as I possibly can, and this is different. Okay, you can go in a circular pattern with this. You can be a little bit more aggressive with this as well because it's 5000 sanding pad. It's not going to burn through the paint. I mean, you've got to rip your arm off literally to try to burn through with this. But this helps set the stage for the next step in a minute, which is polishing this with compounds. And I don't polish by hand. I used to, but I don't anymore because of what Peter Wingfield taught me, which is using an orbital Dremel tool, a micro Dremel to be exact. Because the micro Dremel, cordless micro Dremel, I'll show you that in a moment when I get done doing this right here, is a very nice variable speed, slower speed Dremel because it is cordless. It doesn't have the torque that some of the plug-in Dremels have. So that's where we're going next. Now look at that, okay? If you look at that finish right there, it's all flat and uniform. That 5000 will get you to this point. So, for the purpose of this demonstration here, we're done with leveling the paint, getting rid of the nibs that were there, and flattening or leveling out the actual urethane clear finish. Now, our next step, okay, is to use this. Now, if you don't have one of these, okay, you can use a Dremel, but I would not recommend a cord plug-in Dremel that doesn't have a fairly low speed. This puppy goes down real low, so let me show you how it works. That's as low as you can get it right there. I actually used to polish at this level because I was scared to death to do it. Peter Peter actually gave me this Michael Dremel a long time ago, and when we were working together, and again, I cherish this thing. It was great that he did it, but he said this thing here, when you get braver, you'll probably polish most of the time on level 10. It has 5, 10, 15, 20, up to 28,000 RPM, I believe is what that is. So it's a powerful little thing if you want. It's very versatile. But only the cordless one that I found of Dremel goes low enough. 5,000 and 10,000 is all you need to polish urethane clear. With that said, the next step we do is the compound. Now, I prefer to use Gravity Colors compounds. I don't know what's in these things, but they work wonderful. And what you do is you start with in succession. This stuff, number one, is phenomenal. It works so quickly at bringing back a rubbed out or sanded finish than anything else I've ever used. So these are nice fresh batches that I got from Mate Meyer. So what I do is I put this down, and what we're going to do is, here's how I do this. I take a little bit of the compound and I dab it on right here, just like that. You don't need to go nuts with this stuff, because it doesn't do it any good to have too much on. In fact, it just makes a big mess is what it does. So now what we do is we take the Dremel, and what I do before I turn it on is I take the wheel and I move this around to get all the excess loaded up on the actual buffing wheel. By the way, these buffing wheels here, you can get these from Dremel. I pick them up off of eBay. What I love about them is they're the Loctite type. So when you buy them, they come, you can get this I think this collet either comes with the Dremel or you can buy it separately, this system. That way that you can undo these, and when they get dirty, you can drop them in water, soak them, and then just clean them up. You can wash them with dish soap if you want, and then let them dry, and you can reuse them instead of throwing them out. They're not cheap. I think they're like $3 or $4 a piece, but man, do they work nice. So keep that in mind. These are great. So what I'm going to do now is put it on. Mine goes to 10,000. I'm brave, I know. And you lightly go across it like this. You can go in circular pattern, you can go up and down, sideways. It does not matter. You just sit there and watch as you're doing it to see if you're getting all of that dullness off of it. It works really, really nice. Now, once you're done with the first application, obviously turn your Dremel off. I take a nice clean t-shirt and I rub across there and see how it looks. And look at that, just after one application of that compound, it's almost completely glossed up again. There's a couple areas where it's not, and so what you do is you apply this again. I just take a little dab, put it on here, like that. I take the wheel, move it across here to get the excess, turn it on, and go across it again. Be really light, people, across the edges, because the first time this does this, it's going to take your breath away. If you go across here and you catch one of these edges, it'll kind of pull the wheel off the side, and there is a chance that it'll take a little bit of paint with it, if you're unlucky, of course. Works so nice. See how it kind of pulls it down? Be careful of that. What you need to do is when you get near an edge, you just do it really lightly. And I'm not putting a ton of pressure here, guys. I'm not putting a ton of pressure on here to get this finish, to get it to come back. Now look at this. That's after just 2 light applications with that compound. It's like it's made for these buffing wheels. Look at that. Incredible stuff right there, okay? I love it. I mean, I'm really, this is one of the most enjoyable pieces of the hobby, in my opinion, on the cars, is getting that type of finish. Now, I've got it where I want with number 1, but you're not done yet, okay? Looks nice, right? But you've got the number 2 and number 3. Now these just literally finish it off. The gray, sometimes you can start with the gray if you've got real light oxidation, or you can use this stuff as just a wax or a buffing compound. What I love about this stuff is that none of it contains wax, though, or polishes, so that if you needed to repaint over something that you've just done with it, you can do that, okay? Obviously, it's some kind of automotive grade stuff, but I don't pressure Gravity Colors or Mate asking what it is. I don't care. I just love using it. That's just incredible. Just going over this with just this number 2. I mean, look at that. You know, you look at that right there, and then you compare it to this, if you can see it right there. You see that area has a little bit of graininess in it, where this is completely smooth. It's all you need to get a really fantastic finish. And if there's many of you watchers out there that are going to go take cars like this to contest, you'll blow people away if you have a beautiful finish on the car like this. I hate to say it, I guess I'm biased, but there is very few people out there that can shoot enamels and get that kind of finish without having a ton more effort, in my opinion. That's why I got away from model paints a long time ago. I hope I don't ruffle anybody's feathers out there. That's not my intention. But to get the most worry-free, trouble-free finish on a model car, the way to go is using the 2-part urethane clear coats. I know they're dangerous. You need to wear a respirator. I wear a respirator. I'm really dealing with this stuff in small quantities. I have a spray booth, as you saw in the video, that sucks that stuff right outside really nicely. It's a very powerful fan on there. So I've been doing this for years, and I don't have any side effects from it. The final thing I do is the number 3. Again, you dab it on there like this, and just watch this. This is just the candy. It's like the cherry on top on a sundae. It's just amazing what this does. This is just one little area, everyone, that I'm doing here. And this is how I will do the rest of the car. But I'm not going to do a full video on every piece of this because it would take forever. And that's a lot of uploading, a lot of time doing videos. So what I'm doing here is what I will do to the rest of the car. And then when this is all done, we'll go ahead and mask off the car with the pre-cut paint mask from Gravity Colors and shoot the bottom black, a semi-gloss black. But there's the finish. I just want to show you up close, if I can get as close as possible, and run this across here. Look at that. And what have I spent? Everyone, about what, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes on that one area? Now I'll attack this area, the sides, a little bit of the top here. There are areas that I don't have to do much to because it's such a small surface area, like around here. Plus, there's way too many bumps and crevices here. I stay away from those areas. If the finish looks nice, I might run over it with the wheel and some compound, but I don't go crazy with it using the sanding films and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave you with that. Again, one more look. I mean, it's money. I hope you guys agree. Everyone out there agrees that that's a nice finish. And it was done with minimal effort. Now, before I leave you on this video, I want everybody to know that the rest of the car, I've started, it's like pre-assembling the rear pieces and all that. All these body components are going to get treated the same way they did in videos 1 through 4, I believe. So I'm not going to just keep repeating those steps to save us time, so that this video series isn't about 25 parts long. It's a 1/20th scale curbside F1 car. It doesn't require that many videos and repetition. So if you're watching this video for the first time and you're wondering, how did I get this finish and how did I do all this prep work and all that on this front part of this car, you need to watch videos 1 through 4 to see those, and subscribe to my channel, obviously, which is where we're leading to now. The video being over. Again, I appreciate everybody's support and interest in my channel. And please hit the subscribe button if you like this video, and then watch the other ones. And smash the like button at each one of the videos for me if you can. And thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.